Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to tell you guys why I think the next generation STI is going to have an electric motor or be powered by an electric drivetrain, maybe a hybrid drivetrain, but let me walk you through why I think it's going to be an electric drivetrain. And I think I can convince you guys that it makes the most engineering sense, business sense, and it's just the logical thing for Subaru to do. And we might have some indications from Subaru based on what they're doing from a manufacturing and engineering side and what they're doing with the rest of their fleet that would indicate why the next STI is going to be coming out as an electric and why it might be coming sooner than we expected. So let's hop into my Miata. Yes, there'll be Subaru stuff coming to the channel soon. I'm trying to get a build for the Subaru, but let's hop in my Miata because it's super windy out and we'll drive this thing and we'll talk about the next STI and why it's going to be electric. Let's go for it. So yes, I do think that the next STI is going to be an electric vehicle. And in this video, while we drive my Miata, which is a very different car that is soon going to be officially the daily driver because the next Subaru will be on the channel. We're going to talk about why the STI will be electric, and I'm going to prove to you guys through reason, engineering, and business. So let's talk about it. Okay, first and foremost, we're going to talk about the most tangible, rudimented news from Subaru at why this is going to probably be the STI, and then we're going to talk about why it makes engineering and business sense for what they're doing, and that's going to give us the most well-rounded opinion because there is no fact here. We are guessing, but we're going to get as close to a perfect guess as possible. So first and foremost, when Subaru announced that the STI wouldn't come into production for the next generation, that's the 2022 WRX, that platform, they did announce that they would be exploring two different things: the potential of a hybrid motor and the potential of electrification, which moves along with the rest of their fleet and what they are trying to achieve, also what the US government is pushing them to do. So we've heard directly from Subaru that at some point they are going to pursue electrification of the STI. Now, if you follow the STI news actually over the last 6 to 8 years, you'll know that we've actually seen multiple STI concepts that were all electric concepts. Obviously, these electric concepts were not production cars, but they have been thinking about fully electrifying the STI for some time. So we've heard that from Subaru. Now, just based on the whole fleet, Subaru has been openly trying to electrify and become hybrid, but most importantly, electrify. They are trying to compete in the game as one of the primary all-wheel drive electric cars that isn't the Tesla platform. Now, other manufacturers are doing this, but they haven't had successful holds on the car market, and Subarus offer an entry to the car market that not a lot of car companies have, and I truly do think that they are going to be able to compete if they hit the market. So, two pieces of knowledge direct from Subaru. We know that they are pushing for electrification. Now, let's talk about the market and the market impact, and what this really comes down to is the business side of why the next STI is going to be electric. They made a drastic decision not to release a next generation STI. Now, why did they do this? Well, to make impact and to maybe gauge what a big impact on delivery will do to their market. And I think this could be a play to gauge what's going to happen if we make a big drop in the pond and come out with an electric STI. How is that going to affect the rest of our business? Because historically, that platform hasn't been electric, and it probably would have a lot of rub if it was electric because you lose a lot of the performance side of the aftermarket community, which makes up a large portion of that aftermarket community. So you go from becoming one of the biggest tuning vehicles on the market today to definitely not that, because an electric vehicle doesn't have that many tuning options. It's really just cosmetic, suspension, and all those things. So you're then tied to their ability to deliver a performance car, which historically Subaru has underperformed because they know there's a tuning community behind what they're doing. A bunch of things are lining up. The biggest business use case is that nobody else has really delivered an electric sports car. Now, you can argue that the Tesla and the Model 3 Performance and the P100D are sports cars, but the reality is they're not. They don't add all the other things other than raw performance to what a sports car really is. And when you actually look at the market sentiment of what people are buying that don't have $100,000 or $70,000, performance isn't actually all people are looking for. more often than not, actually, probably about 60% of the market values other aspects other than performance in a sports car. Now, you might argue with me, but, you know, the car that I'm in is a perfect example, but if you look at, I can list them, you know, the Miata, the BRZ, the 86, the S2000, for the most part. You know, some people will do performance with that, but for the most part, that's not delivering a ton of performance. The Civic Si, you know, the Type R, we're right on the cusp there. You know, cars like any muscle car without a V8, which is actually like 75% of the cars that they sell, like Mustangs, Camaros, anything without a V8 platform. We're all talking cars that are not fast. They're not fast. They all offer different things, you know. The BRZ and the Miata can hit a corner at you know, crazy speeds. The V6 Mustang is just a cheaper option of what a sports car can be, and it makes it look like a sports car. So the majority of the market isn't spending $60,000 to $100,000 on performance, probably because they don't have that money. So the reason why Tesla can't compete right now in that space is because they are overpricing themselves, and that is a beautiful thing for the rest of the market. In reality, we haven't seen a consumer sports car hit the market that's electrified, and Subaru might be able to do that while maintaining still a higher price so they can pay for the R&D and the production of what it would cost to electrify the STI, because the STI is still a more expensive vehicle, but they probably could deliver it and charge just south of $60,000 for the top tier model and still be able to have quite good consumer success and deliver a car that is a proven sports car that can do a lot of things that the Tesla platform cannot do. Now, they have some challenges because electric cars have different weight ratios and different aspects like that, but they should still be able to deliver something that is very different and very unique on the market, and that is why it makes business sense. They will be the first. Being the first is not always good, but being the first in this case could be huge for what Subaru plans to do with the rest of their fleet, and that's where the real money is. You know, as enthusiasts, we always think that the WRX and STI make such a big portion of what makes Subaru Subaru, but in reality, and I'm gonna hit this turn without slowing down, the Miata can be a lot of fun, but in reality, the rest of the fleet makes up well over 80, 85, 90% of the business that they do. So this car, you know, the WRX and the STI make such a small drop in the pond for them that they're all positioning over the rest of their cars. But coming out and saying we have an electric sports car makes a heck of a lot of sense for them, because then they can sell it as, we have experience, we have this, we've done this with this platform, come buy our electric Crosstrek because it makes sense, we dumbed it down, we know what we're doing at the high performance side, it makes sense that we know what we're doing at the consumer side. Also, from an engineering standpoint, like that same business sentiment, they are developing an electrified fleet. So what does that mean, and what do they need to do? They need to produce a manufacturing facility that can do that. And what do they need to, what makes engineering sense while they're developing a facility that can do that? Build the operations and ability to electrify an STI and make an electric STI. If you're doing it at production and you're planning a plant around it, it makes the most sense. It's cheaper to do it then, and it's less expensive to then inject an electric STI into an already functioning plant. So as they're building out that infrastructure, which they are currently doing, it makes complete engineering and production sense, manufacturing sense, to actually electrify the STI while they're electrifying the rest of the fleet. So I think there is a multitude of reasons why the next STI is going to be electric, from a performance standpoint, from an engineering standpoint, from a business standpoint, and just from a consumer and community standpoint. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. I'm really hoping that we have more information on what's going to happen in the next 12 months. I think there's a really high chance that we will know, because I think Subaru is going to have to give us some type of press release to keep their community engaged and keep people interested in the platform. So hopefully some exciting stuff to come, and otherwise, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and we will talk shortly here, hopefully over my next project, which is going to be either a WRX or an STI. I'm not going to announce it yet, but it's coming to the channel this winter, and that's going to be how we spend the entire winter. We're going to be building a car, so it should be a lot of fun, and hope to see you there.